What is going on, everyone? We are back with another episode of our podcast. We're the Football Tailgaters, and we talk everything about the NFL. I have here with me Yams, a Jets fan, Andy, the unbiased NFL fan, and myself, Aaron, a sad Cowboys fan. Another week down. We are down to the NFC, AFC championship games after another slate of games here that were really entertaining, aside from one hint. So I'm going to mention some topics here we're going to go over in this podcast. We're going to go over the Cowboys game, who lost the Cowboys game. We're going to talk about who we think is the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And we'll also go over the biggest surprise for this divisional playoff that just happened this past weekend and the AFC, NFC game preview picks. So I think it's clear here that we're going to go over the biggest game of at least what we thought was the biggest game, unless Yams doesn't think so at all. It's the Cowboys game against the 49ers. It was a tough game to watch. There's a lot that I want to say, but I don't really have, I guess, my thoughts. I'm just going to spew whatever I spew, you know. It's real early. I need a few, I guess, days to kind of like just go over and kind of make some sense of the chaos that's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. But let's start off with this question right away. Let's get into it with who lost the Cowboys game. Jens, why don't you just start off with us right here?
I think it's quite simple on who's lost the Cowboys game. It's Dak Prescott. You can't throw 2 interceptions to a really good defense and help that team capitalize on scoring on you guys. At this point, it's time to move on from Dak Prescott. It's time to move on from Kellen Moore. It's the same thing over and over again. It's just they're always in it. They're somehow always in it, but it's just never enough. It's never enough. It's always you guys always complain and also blame the coach. Last time it was Jason Garrett, now it's McCarthy. It's Dak Prescott. It's time to move on.
I completely understand, and that's what the majority of people are saying out there. That's Dak Prescott's fault of why they lost. I still gonna be putting more of the blame to Jerry Jones and McCarthy, and the reason that is because we all know how Dak Prescott's ceiling is. And he cannot be that quarterback to win the games for you. We've said it before in this podcast. He is not the quarterback to win these games for you. You can't make him carry the team. You have to put the team around them better so he can be able to do those plays. Look, if Dak Prescott was with the 49ers, I'm sure the 49ers could have won that game. But they keep putting the game in his hands. It's the same situation they did with Tony Romo. They're not that type of caliber quarterbacks to win you that Super Bowl by themselves. They need a lot of help, and that system is what they need to be able to the system to change it for the pieces to be around them, wide receivers, running backs, just like the Eagles are doing, just like the 49ers are doing. That's what they actually need in order to win a Super Bowl.
So that very good points, and I think I'll add on to that, and I'll just say right off the official account of the Dallas Cowboys on Twitter, they tweeted this, and this is the perfect summary of what it is and whose fault it is. Dak Prescott gave away the ball twice in the narrow loss to the 49ers in a matchup the Cowboys had a chance to win if they didn't, again, generate self-inflicted wounds. Everybody says this. Every, popular journal analyst, that's talking about this is saying these are self-inflicted wounds. And this is coming back to Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is exactly the type of quarterback that can't carry you the game. You need to put great pieces around him so he can succeed. You get him put him in a good spot and he'll play good. But he's not in that position with the team that he has. The way that Jerry Jones is handling this is not good enough. He doesn't really I guess it's really complicated to say because an owner, they have to handle a lot of things and it's not an easy thing to do, but clearly they can't handle the situation correctly. So he needs to get over Dak Prescott and move on, and also move on from Kellen Moore. And I would also consider maybe McCarthy to go to even that extent, because that final play, again, it was last year all over again. What are they doing? Where's the discipline? Where's the coordination? Where is the game plan? There was no strategy. It was just panic. They're scared. No one was calm. No one was ready. On the other side, you had Purdy. He was poised. He was calm. He was just steady. He also has an insane amount of weapons all across, everywhere. Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey. He's just set. Ayuk. He's set. He's got it easy. Now, he's capable of doing it because he is a good quarterback to get them to there. Like, he has a good record. I think he's 8-0 now through all the games he's played. Now, obviously, if he didn't have those crazy weapons, who knows what kind of quarterback he would be? We don't know. He just barely started. So there's still a lot to see from him, which is going to be very interesting going into those to the NFC Championship. But it's clear and easy. I myself, as a fan, I'm thinking, it's a lot of people's fault. I think they need to almost go around, evaluate everyone and everything. It's a real problem, and it's within. The problem is within, and it really goes down to the owner. But the owner's not changing. It's not going to change.
The owner's not going anywhere. This whole narrative, it's all Jerry Jones. Let's move on from this, okay? It's going to change when he dies.
Yeah. Well, and every year every year
the issue.
Yeah, it's the issue, but every year this debacle happens, and it's always the same situation. And as a fan, I completely understand you, Aaron, that you just want to just destroy the whole thing and just try to look for like the best scenario, bring in Sean Payton, or do this and get another quarterback because it's not working and everything. And I don't think it's just that quite easy. It's really hard.
This is what I'm saying. What they need to do, realistically speaking, they're not going to do a single thing. They're going to restructure. They're going to restructure Dak Prescott's contract. They're going to maybe shop around for Elliott. They're going to make some moves that it's just going to be one single move.
That's why
going to change one single thing.
That's where I disagree with you, though. I don't think that's what they should do and just destroy everything and move away from McCarthy and Dak Prescott and Kellen Moore. And I disagree with you there. If in my opinion, because you have to work with the resources and the resources that the Cowboys have. They did go all the way to the divisional playoffs. I know it's year after year they go into the playoffs and then kicked out. I understand that, but the situation with this is like, okay, if I'm the Cowboys, I would look at everything that I have on paper and what is the situation here? Why we can't get to that next level. Everybody's saying it everywhere. It's because Dak didn't play well. Well, then stop putting the game on Dak's hands. You cannot move away from Jerry Jones, just like Yam said. You cannot move away from him. But if some way they can just like have an open mind and open their eyes and be like, okay, we got to stop putting it on the quarterback's shoulders. Like I said, they did the exact same thing with Tony Romo. These guys are not Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Burrow, that can just carry the team and make things happen with injuries all around them. Like they are not that type of quarterback. They need assistance, just like Jalen Hurts needs assistance, just like Nick Foles needs assistance, just like Purdy needs assistance. That's how they are able to get it. I'll even put Joe Flacco when he won that Super Bowl. They need assistance. And that's the situation that there is. Dak, I absolutely can believe that he can win a Super Bowl, but he needs a lot of help. And that's the situation that it is. And this year, there's going to be some changes happening. I can guarantee you that, because they have a lot of free agents going on. And they're going to be having. They have Schultz as a free agent. Pollard is also going to be one. I believe those are the main two guys that are going to be going to be affected here. But they have a number of guys out there that are going to be in free agency. Zeke, I believe this is his last year because it's too much money on his contract, and I believe they can move on without hitting the cap. And Dak Prescott, he's going to have to stay. They're going to pay him, I believe it's like $40 million. He's
That's
like
a
the
mistake.
Second.
I think it's time to move on. If you were to tell somebody,
who are you going to move on from? You have to get another better quarterback. So are you telling me you're going to risk it on a draft pick to see if a rookie can actually do that?
Who's
a better quarterback out there?
It's time to move on.
You don't have just them. It's not just the draft picks. You have other quarterbacks.
Tell me a quarterback that's better.
I understand what you guys are saying. There's no quarterback right now to pick up for Dak that can replace Dak.
That's what I'm saying.
But the way you said it, okay, look, yes, I understand Kyle Shanahan put Purdy in a position to succeed. As you can tell, all his quarterbacks who come in, they're able to run this offense, right?
Yeah.
The Dallas defense isn't bad.
No.
And the defense for the 49ers isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
But who had the better quarterback?
No,
Who had the better quarterback? Who had the better quarterback? Just answer me. Who's better?
This was not a quarterback game between both of them. It was the lack of discipline and the game plan that they had set up.
Where was the lack of discipline? I'm so sorry. Where? Because except Dak throwing interceptions and the run game, which Tony Pollard was out.
The penalties, like an absurd amount of penalties, the crazy debacle they had in the final minutes.
I'm sorry.
Zero
what
coordination.
crazy amount
They
of
were
penalties?
they punt the ball with the clock running
That's
under 2 minutes.
That's
That's
right.
a lack of discipline.
That's one.
Yeah, and that's towards the end. That's towards the end.
That's towards the end when the game was already over.
When it matters, no, it was not
No,
over.
it
no,
doesn't
It wasn't over because
no, it was
yeah,
not.
You
over.
should not be in that
It
position.
was a touchdown and they tie it. It was 12 to 19.
It wasn't
touchdown,
over
they tie it.
because there was a punt that
I
I
understand. They
disagree
took
with
off-
the punt.
They
No.
took off a lot of seconds.
No,
off
but
that
they
punt.
shouldn't have punted though. That's the
Correct,
whole
Correct.
thing.
They shouldn't have punted. Correct. They should have gone for it. But again, that is because Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions.
But did you see the plays that the 49ers were doing compared to the Cowboys playing? And
Correct.
that's what I'm saying, that the 49ers are putting Purdy in the better position to
Absolutely.
win instead of Dak Prescott to throw it downfield.
Absolutely. And that's why I said from the beginning of this podcast, it's time to move on from Kellen Moore. The Cowboys decided to keep Kellen Moore after they fired Jason Garrett. I know whoever was called, McCarthy, Jerry Jones, whoever was the call to keep Kellen Moore was the wrong decision. It was to start from clean. You got a new head coach.
Okay, but who's in charge of Kellen Moore? It's McCaffrey. I mean, McCarthy. McCarthy's in charge of Kellen Moore. If I'm the head coach and I'm seeing that you're putting the quarterback in the wrong positions, then it's my fault for not telling Kellen Moore as an offensive coach. I'm the head coach, McCarthy. Hey, stop putting the game on his shoulders to throw it downfield. Look what Purdy's doing. He's doing quick throws to McCaffrey, quick throws to the side to Debo,
Because
running the ball to Kittle in the middle, like quick
McCarthy
throws.
is not an intelligent head coach like Kyle Shanahan, but he needed to make that move. He needs to move on from Kellen Moore. It's time. He did it last time with the defensive coordinator with Dan Quinn, and look, there were some big changes. I don't know where it came on to keep Kellen Moore. Maybe he has some good ties with the Jerry Jones and the Jones, and maybe they're the reason why Kellen Moore decided to stay. We don't know the true story on what, but that guy needs to go.
We won't know because Jerry Jones is the general manager, and we don't know how much control does he have. And he's the general manager at the end. He's the one that makes these decisions. If he wants to decide to keep him, he has that power to do that. He can tell McCarthy, no, I want to keep him. Make it work with him. Make it work with him. I think he's gonna be good. I like him. It could have been that kind of situation. Or it could have been McCarthy. I like this kid, and I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's the problem that we have.
I don't think so.
Jerry Jones has.
We will never know.
We will never know because his hands are too involved. That it could be in the situation that McCarthy just wanted a job, and of course I'm going to take the head coaching job of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wasn't Kellen Moore like the backup at one point for the Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, you guys. It's so easy. Jerry Jones said, "I like this guy. Let's give him a shot." We know how he likes to give people that he like on his team a shot. He gave Jason Garrett many chances.
Yeah.
So that's just how he is, and that's fine. But it's time to move on. It should have happened a long time ago. And yes, it's time to move on from Dak.
Dak has been there since 2016.
Move on.
And he has not accomplished more than just a divisional game, getting to there.
Look, Yams, so you're a Jets fan. You're saying get rid of Dak Prescott. You can see that he wins a lot of games in the season. I know that people get tired, and the whole point about this is to go to the Super Bowl. But if the Jets had a competent quarterback that can actually make those throws, I'm sure the Jets would have been in the playoffs if they had a competent quarterback to just make those easy throws that Dak certainly can. And that's the situation why I don't think that they should get rid of him, because there's nobody out there to be able to replace him. With the Jets, you can replace Zach Wilson with anybody else that's just competent to just make those easy throws.
Look.
Who? Tell me somebody that you can replace.
Draft
him.
someone. Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round.
It's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
I know it's not that easy.
Look at all
you
these
have
teams.
to take these chances, you guys. You can't
when you have.
Aside from the.
I'm sorry, but when you're with your Jets team,
my Jets is a different story.
It's a great example because the Jets are getting pieces together to be able to compete. And if you just keep drafting a rookie quarterback, all those pieces that are there are gonna want contracts, and you're missing their prime years. You can't base it off all solely on just the quarterback and just getting to draft and testing another one and testing another one and testing another one. And you have great pieces out there like Gardner Sauce.
It's not testing. It's just time to move on. Last year they should have drafted one.
Well, I'm
Because
talking about
because
the following years. Yes, I agree with you that they should have drafted one just to see what's going on, but they haven't done it. I'm just saying for the future out, like right now, as
Draft
of
one.
today, yes, I would draft one, but you have to keep Dak Prescott. The only ones I can think about that can be better than him is Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers that are available. And we don't even know if they're available actually. It's a big question mark with him. But Lamar Jackson, that's another one that supposedly Baltimore's keeping him, but I wouldn't even get him as well.
Oh wow.
So no, you're putting yourself in a bigger hole here with that guy's contract too.
Speaking of contract, but not in talent.
No, not in talent. I do believe Lamar is better than Dak Prescott, but in contract, you're going to put yourself in a big hole. If I was Baltimore, I wouldn't even pay him, and I've said it before.
They're already in a big hole with all the money that they're dumping with just Dak Prescott and Elliott.
Yeah, well, Elliott, you can forget about him because now this upcoming year, you can get rid of him, and it's not going to hurt your cap anymore. But with Dak Prescott, it's $40 million. That's going to be a cap hit. So you can think of ways like if you talk with Green Bay, I mean, it's possible. Why not? You talk with Green Bay, you talk with Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, man, here's a team. Here's these wide receivers. Maybe you get another wide receiver for him, another weapon. You have some veterans in there that have been in the NFL for quite some time. You have a decent defense. I mean, and then you can just tell the Green Bay Packers like, hey, you pay $20 million for him, and I'll pay the other $20 million, and I pay Rodgers. Like, there's ways of doing things. Like it can obviously happen, but I really, really, really doubt it.
Aside from the quarterback situation, what the Cowboys had, there was other problems that they had as well, and it wasn't just the quarterback position. The defensive line was not stopping the running game at all. The secondary was struggling.
For who? The Cowboys didn't stop the running game?
They were having a tough time.
I feel like I'm watching a different game.
Yeah, no, man. I have watched a completely different game than you. They if you look at the stats, they held McCaffrey under 50 yards, I believe. Deebo Samuel under 50 yards.
And Mitchell had 50 yards as well.
Well, until the very end, because at the fourth quarter, of course, they're tired because they can't hold off. That was the offense's fault for not being able to score points, but they did an amazing job controlling the run. Are you kidding?
No, they went. Okay, first of all, they could not stop the run in the second half, which was the problem. In the first half, they were doing good, but they couldn't keep up.
I couldn't keep up. They did it from the first, second, and third quarter. If your
offense can't do it, your defense has to do the job, and that's what it was.
They were doing it, man.
They were, and the offense wasn't doing that, so you just have to keep going. Because no, you're not. The offense isn't going to complete anything. So why put the faith in the offense when you just have to just go straight to the defense? And it's going to give out, and that's the problem. Well, so if you're not going to fix the offense, just put all your faith in the defense. It's that simple.
But you need some points, and who scores the points?
Exactly. But what are they going to do with the offense? Tell me. There's too many issues. And there's so much dysfunction with that organization.
I just don't think there's accountability. That's the problem. I don't think that there's accountability on the offensive
side. No, because
Quinn is doing a great job on the defense. I take nothing away from the defense. They did a really good job. I mean, it would have been great if they had a couple more turnovers. I mean, Trayvon Diggs had an interception go through his hands that would have stopped that touchdown for making it of them going up a touchdown. So Quinn does put him in the best position to win, but they can't do everything, unfortunately. And I do believe that if you put in a little bit more pieces in the defense, they would become even a more elite defense. But I really don't think that. I mean, hopefully for Cowboys' sake, Quinn stays, but that's going to be really hard.
There is a lot of things. There was the first downs completely dominated by San Francisco. They had more yardage, and the time of possession was like a 6-7 minute differential. So it was just too much for the defense because the offense couldn't do anything. And then you had another thing to worry about with Maher, which was another issue that eventually, thankfully, he fixed, but it was a little bit too late. And that first blocked kick, it was going to be an awful kick. He was going to miss it. If he would have made that, it would have been a different situation.
Well, it was an extra point, right? So add a point to the Cowboys.
Well, either way, it really changes that, doesn't it? Because now they're like, oh, we get this touchdown, we win for sure. Yeah. Does that not like change your mentality of it rather than like, oh, let's go for a tie?
Yeah, of course. That does affect the coach's decisions. And you have to play a little bit different and be scared
And then
because now
Pollard
you don't
went
have a
out.
kicker. And then Pollard went out, which was
And
was
Zeke
a huge
is just
hit.
he just can't do it anymore.
No.
He was just getting stuffed. He was getting stuffed because the 49ers defense is probably the best defense in the league right now.
No, he got through some holes.
Yeah, but he didn't. The
What quarter did he go?
explosiveness.
What quarter
He
did
was
he go
held to
down?
26 yards for 10 carries.
Yeah, he didn't.
What quarter did he go down?
It was
It
second.
was, I think it was like second or third quarter.
It was the second quarter, I think. And then they didn't
And I
use
think-
the other running back, Davis, that much either.
Yeah, Davis. They didn't.
That
no,
is true.
They
Pollard went down, and
took
they're
away-
like, "What do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
All
What
right,
do we
Dak,
do? Our
save
biggest
the day."
weapon in the running game is gone."
Yeah, Dak Prescott saved the day, and that's, of course, you shouldn't have done that. You don't put it on his hands. You do different types of plays like 49ers did. Like, learn from the better team. The better team is actually showing you how it's done. Using Deebo Samuel as a running back, quick throws instead of like trying to throw it to down the field, and that's how Dak Prescott made his interceptions. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
He was making a lot of questionable throws. He was clearly the spotlight, like the ones that were blaming, it was him mostly being thrown in there, with everything else just being kind of like on the side. But they clearly have a lot to think about this offseason.
To close my point for the Cowboys, this is, in my opinion, what they should do this offseason. They, of course, keep Dak Prescott. You're going to move away from Zeke. Get another running back somewhere, because even Pollard might be leaving as well, because he's going to want to get paid. If possible, draft, if you can, Robinson, the UT Austin running back. It's going to be really hard. I don't think he'll last that long in the first round, but you never know.
The 26th pick?
Something like that, yeah. And try to get a top offensive coordinator, Frank Reich or the offensive coordinator from Baltimore. If you get one of those two, you are going to get yourself in another level, just like you got Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator, and it elevated extremely the Dallas Cowboys defense. You can still keep McCarthy in there. It is what it is.
So you're saying Kellen Moore should be gone?
Yeah, of course, Kellen Moore should be gone. But if you're going to keep McCarthy as your head coach, because every head coach tries to bring in their own coordinators. So if Quinn stays and McCarthy stays, try the best that you can to get Frank Wright or the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, that I can't remember his name right now. But you'll elevate so much your team, and it'll be a different force next year. And be smart in free agency as well. Like, get some weapons. Get Dak some weapons.
It's going to be a very interesting free agency, and they need to make some moves, and they need to figure out
Cooper
else.
leaving affected the team. We can all see. They needed another player.
Injuries hurt them too.
Yeah, but everybody got hurt. The Eagles got hurt. The 49ers lost 2 quarterbacks seriously? And they're in the NFC Championship.
It was just the quarterbacks. Yeah. Everything else was healthy. And like, if your quarterback goes down, if you have anyone as competent as Purdy, you're fine, clearly. Which is like some of the backups, and I don't know. It's just it's stupid, and it's the same thing every year, and this is what happens when you just whenever you gain confidence with it. This is just like something that's just kind of, I guess, it's very murky for the team to kind of try to figure out. So they have a lot to think about basically this offseason. And I think Kellen Moore should be gone. I think they should really think about their quarterback position. And they really need to do something this free agency for sure. Like, for sure. They need to do something. Because when that deadline hit this past offseason, they couldn't do much because there wasn't much available. And they were just kind of sleeping on everything else. They didn't look desperate for moves because they felt pretty confident with the team they had. And now,
which we were talking about, that we were really frustrated that they weren't doing anything, because you want to get to that higher level, and not doing anything that's hurt. I mean, look what the 49ers did. They got McCaffrey, put him in another level. Look what the Eagles did. They got AJ Brown, put him in another level. That's what you do if you want to get to that level, and the Cowboys just don't. I mean, unfortunately, you're stuck with Jerry Jones. So, I mean, you just hope for the best, and hopefully they make some changes. That's all.
So, why don't we move on to the Super Bowl, or I guess early Super Bowl talk, and kind of go over who we think is going to be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. We got the Eagles left, we got the San Francisco 49ers left, we got the Kansas City Chiefs left, and we got the Cincinnati Bengals left. A lot of great teams, and these, I think this is probably like the toughest matchups we could have gotten, at least from what I see, that could have gone ever since the playoffs started. So, Yams, let's go with you and see who's your favorite Super Bowl winner for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So earlier in the season, I predicted the Kansas City Chiefs would probably win the Super Bowl. I don't know what the status on Patrick Mahomes. I know he has a high ankle sprain. I don't know if he's going to play. It looks like he might not play. And if that happens, that's just going to help the Bengals go to the Super Bowl. And I don't know. I kind of have a hunch of a feeling here that maybe Bengals win it this year.
Absolutely. I think the Bengals are the better team here. Burrow is just doing some really good magic. He at one point in this season, he didn't have Mixon, and he still played well. And another point, he didn't have Chase, and he still played well. Oh, and his offensive lineman is decimated, and he still plays well. He did beat Buffalo, and he's still playing at a really high level. So I'm going to pick the Bengals because they just look like the better team.
So they're going to try and play Patrick Mahomes. He has a high ankle sprain, but it's seeming that they're kind of leaning to making him play this coming game because, it's all on the line. There's kind of this, obvious talk about how he's going to be limited. So right now, Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league right now. Right now, with Mahomes injured, he's the best quarterback right now, left standing as well. So I'm pretty confident with the Bengals being the Super Bowl favorites here. And man, it's just for the NFC side, it's going to be a very, very close one. And I just, it's because the defenses as well, because we're thinking we go usually to the firepower of the offense and who leads that offense, which is the quarterback. And it's going to be a tough situation because you have these great quarterbacks being put in good positions with a lot of great weapons, and especially on the other side, having some pretty good defenses. I guess it would be tough to see who kind of has the worst defense, which is like when you say like from the 4 teams left, their defenses aren't like horrible. But I think I would put
the Kansas City Chiefs.
Huh? I was gonna say I would put Kansas City Chiefs as the worst defense out of the 4 of them.
Then the Bengals.
And then the Bengals, then the
Eagles.
I think Eagles, and then
49ers.
So it kind of goes in order, right? And I would kind of like to lean to defenses win championships, but Joe Burrow is just doing something else right now,
right?
And he's just gonna with the kind of situation he's set in right now with Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase and all those weapons he has on offense, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, and the reason why I also picked the Bengals, because on the NFC side, we saw Purdy play his worst game that he has played against the Cowboys. He did play against a higher level defense, and he needed some help. And like I said, Shanahan put him in the best position to be able to win the game, which they did. And the Eagles, I'm still kind of iffy with them. They do have a high power offense, but they did play a sorry New York Giants team. They haven't been able to explode and show against a better team to be able to get to that hump and show everybody no, we are unstoppable. So I still have my question marks there. And with Burrow and the Bengals, they actually have been showing how good they are throughout the late in the season, like they did last year when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for the NFC East, I just NFC, sorry, yeah, NFC. I don't see the. I don't know. I can't see the 49ers beating the Eagles. Honestly, they have such a dynamic offense where they do the same thing over and over again, and teams cannot stop them. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl against the Bengals. That's my Super Bowl matchup.
Yeah, it could be, which I know Aaron would love.
Why would Aaron love this?
The Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Why?
It's a Cowboys fan.
Got it.
You got it. There you go.
Well, I thought, the 49ers just honestly, the Cowboys. Maybe that's why.
For Cowboys fans, I think they just don't like any of these two teams, the 49ers or the Eagles.
It's the worst kind of nightmare for a Cowboys fan to see the 49ers and Eagles in the NFC Championship. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But the team I find more likable, just because I'm salty about what just happened, is the Eagles right now. And, right now, the 49ers are tied with
Eagles,
the same amount.
I'm not even a Cowboys fan.
I know.
That's
I
because
understand.
The Jets have never beat the Eagles before.
No, that's not why I hate them. I'm just not liking how
the coaches.
I just no.
Their coach
is
pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like cussing out one of his
Sirianni?
coaches on the staff.
Well, maybe they were questioning him.
Well,
He needed to tell him, I know what I'm doing.
He's
I
a
know what the
classic
F I'm
Philly.
doing.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me like that. No, I hate that. And then the other time he was like, yelling at the fans. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. You felt bad for.
He seems like a great, legitimate Eagles coach.
Yeah, now I'm changing my
Also-
mind. Now I want the 49ers to win.
Yeah. Also, what really bugs me too is maybe it does bother me just because of the Jets' situation is that they were able to get their crap fixed in 2 years. Like, who the hell does that?
That's good coaching and know what your quarterback is capable of. If he's a great running quarterback, they're using his skills. And that's what Baltimore did, and that's what the Eagles are doing. They use the quarterback skills, and that's what shows what's a good coach.
I don't know. If
Even
he's
with a
good
lot of
coach.
doubt.
What do you mean you don't know if he's a good coach? He's in the NFC Championship in 2 years.
I don't care.
Well, I mean, we would all wish our teams would be in the NFC Championship.
Like you said, it's not sustainable. That type of play, it's not sustainable. And
No, but if you get a Super Bowl out of it, I mean,
that's it. Yeah. I guess.
well,
It
that's the
doesn't
whole
matter,
point.
yeah.
That's the whole point.
It doesn't matter if it's sustainable if you win a Super Bowl. It doesn't.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
When's the last time a running
Um,
quarterback won a Super Bowl?
Oof.
I mean, if you want to put Russell Wilson,
Oh yeah. I think.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
Patrick
it's-
Mahomes, Russell Wilson.
Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes. There you go. He was the last
But
one.
it's because Patrick Mahomes is so dynamic that he just throws. Like, he doesn't have to run all the time. He's just such a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he is injured. But let me bring up something. There's like different like odds out there for that Vegas throws out, right?
Right.
So right now they had the Kansas City Chiefs favored by 2.5, but Circa, they have their own sports book and they actually brought it down to 1.5.
Favorite for the Eagles?
No, for the Chiefs.
Oh, for the Chiefs.
For the Chiefs.
Okay.
For the Chiefs. So that tells you something that I don't know how they're figuring things out, that maybe how Patrick Mahomes is practicing or his leg is going, that they don't feel too confident of him being at 100%, and that's going to give more towards the Cincinnati Bengals. So that just shows a little bit of what the situation is going on with the Bengals and how Vegas is seeing, well, particularly Circa, that they kind of believe more that the Bengals are getting better to be able to win that game.
Definitely. Look how he played when he was kind of hobbling around against the Jaguars. The Jaguars got close. They got in it. They were in it still. It's not like game was over, but I mean, you can't seriously pretend that you can have a hobbled Mahomes help you win. I don't know. I can't see it.
But he won. That's so great about Mahomes. Even with
But
his
against a team that's
ankle.
barely in, like it's barely getting their groove on.
Regardless,
Bengals
they're
are
in
hot.
the playoffs. Regardless, they're
in the playoffs.
The Jaguars were in the playoffs.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the playoffs, but the division was horrible.
Yeah, but they beat the Chargers.
Oh, freaking game. Yeah.
I wouldn't discredit what the Jaguars did.
No,
this
of
season.
course not. Doug Peterson is a great coach, and Trevor Lawrence played really well. So I wouldn't discredit them at all.
I didn't.
So I'm
I
putting a
didn't.
lot of credit to the Chiefs to be able to win in spite of Mahomes having a high ankle sprain.
I am just saying, Bengals have a well put team. They're
Right.
running hot.
Right.
They're not figuring things out anymore. They figured it out. And Jaguars, I'm not saying they're horrible or not. They were in the process of figuring it out. They're a brand new team.
Yeah, they're going to
Trevor
be better
Lawrence, they'll
next
be better
season.
next year.
They're
Yes,
gonna be
absolutely.
way better next season.
This is it for the Bengals. Honestly, I think they've hit their ceiling. They're there. They're hot. And they're coming in hot, and they're coming in for their Super Bowl.
So why don't we shift on over to the biggest surprise from this divisional playoff weekend? What did you guys find most surprising?
Nothing. Everything came out just the way I predicted it. If you don't listen to our game picks of last week, I predicted all of them. None of this was surprising. Anyone who thought the Cowboys were going to win it, you're delusional. And anyone who thought
I said that the Cowboys have a chance to win if their running game works,
Anyone-
and it didn't work at
anyone
all.
who thought the Giants were going to keep it close, you're delusional.
So you're telling me?
Yeah. Anyone who thought, oh, this spread, crazy. And the only one that I might have given you,
I still picked the Eagles though.
you did pick the Eagles. Yeah. None of it surprised me. The only thing that surprised me is how horrible the Giants were.
No,
Just being
I thought you
it's a
said
divisional
you-
game.
I'll tell you what
Oh.
surprised me. What surprised me is how the Bills couldn't make it even competitive. It was at their home stadium. I know it was snowing and everything, but even the Bengals with a offensive line that's just been decimated by injuries, were able to just play so much better than the Bills. And a lot of people had the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, and I'm included. I picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, but how I've been seeing them play in the last few weeks, I wasn't not liking it.
I've been saying it's all this entire podcast. The Bills were not going to make it.
But they got close, though.
But
what I'm saying is that's my biggest surprise. They should have been played better. They have a lot of problems they need to fix in order to get to the Super Bowl. They have, I kind of see them a little bit similar to the situations with the Cowboys. They just can't get to that level to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was pretty shocking to me for the Bills to score, not being able to do anything at all. And what was the Giants' score? Wasn't it just like they were only able to score like
it was 38-7.
Yeah, it was destroyed.
That was destroyed. I didn't think it was going to be that destroyed. I thought 10 points of a difference, maybe.
Well, there you go. That's I mean, close.
Yeah.
But I mean, 10 points is not that
10
much.
10 points is hard.
It's a 2-possession game, but I wouldn't say that it was just going to be a blowout like how it was.
Close is 3 points for me. In football, close is 3 points. 10 points in the NBA, that's close.
No,
not in the football world.
I agree with you, but I mean, I didn't think they were going to be blown out like they did. Yeah. I know the Giants beat the Vikings with a horrible defense. I knew that was going to happen.
They're a fluke team. Giants is a fluke team. They'll come back better though.
Well, who knows? I don't know too much about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones hit his ceiling. Maybe with some weapons they can get a little bit better, but to go to the Super Bowl, I have a lot of questions about that.
They say, he's going to be the quarterback for next season, but who knows? Maybe if a situation pops up where it's better for them, I think they'll look elsewhere for sure. But I think the biggest surprise was it. Man, I mean, I would choose the same thing with the Bills. What I saw from them was just awful, especially in the kind of situation they were in. But if I want to branch off to something different, is the blowout of the Giants versus the Eagles. Nobody thought it was going to be that bad. I think just except for the Eagles fans, because they're Eagles fans. But everybody thought it was going to be a pretty competitive game based on the situation. And we saw what it was just Daniel Jones just being what everyone used to think Daniel Jones was up until the end of the Vikings game. So it was just kind of like this tough situation for them. So I would put that as like another surprise. But the biggest one was by far the Bills just absolutely struggling against because they're a complete team, except for what I think maybe is
the
a problem with them is the running. Yeah. Yes, the running game. They need a running back. They need a good running back, and I think right now they might get one in this. I don't know, in this draft.
Yeah, Robinson can go to them actually.
Yeah, and do they get the pick before Dallas? No, they don't. Dallas gets the pick first.
Oh
man, but
oof.
Yeah, because they have a 13-3 record. The Bills do compared to the Cowboys.
Oh, well, there you go then, and you can. I mean, I don't know if that's who you want Dallas to pick, but I mean, if you do, that's a sigh of relief.
They need to look at that offensive line. The Cowboys do,
but the Bills can actually also can trade up. So it's the draft. Crazy things happen in that day.
Yeah, and Von Miller being out, I think did impact them
for sure.
To some extent.
No, a big extent. Yeah, he helped the Rams get to that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
that was by far. I thought they were gonna go to the Super Bowl, but I just really like what I'm seeing from the Bengals, and I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, and I hope he wins. Yeah, he deserves it. His second chance.
Macaulay Culkin, man. He's something
2 years straight. It's no joke what he is, and I think what we saw is Josh Allen falling in the tier list of almost being like Dak Prescott, just with a lot more edge than Prescott, obviously.
Yeah, of course, Josh Allen is way better.
But yeah, we saw that clearly. He's not a Mahomes and he's not a Joe Burrow. It's that simple.
Right.
That's what I think, and that's my conclusion, I think. But let's move on now to the AFC NFC game previews. The championships are here. 2 more games left, and then we have the Super Bowl, if you don't count the Pro Bowl. So let's go on with our games. Andy, why don't you take it over?
Yeah. So we'll start off with the first game. We have the San Francisco 49ers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Who you guys got?
Yeah, the defense for 49ers is really good, right? But that Eagles, man, that defense, the things they do with Jalen Hurts, and he actually runs the ball. Something that Dak Prescott needed to do in the game. And you know what they're going to give you, but they still get away with it. And it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think the Eagles take this one.
You know, I thought that the 49ers were the best team in the NFC, and despite the Eagles. But how I saw Purdy struggle in this last game against the Cowboys, I'm going to put the edge against the Eagles. It's going to be a really hard game to pick, but I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles just because I think they can put more points than the Dallas Cowboys did. And just because of that the Eagles will win.
I think the O-line is going to be a factor in this game, and to see who gets to the quarterback the fastest and to see if the 49ers can adapt to the dynamic running game that the Eagles have. So as long as they shut down on the offensive side for the Eagles, if they shut down the dynamic run that is Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, they can win the game as long as Brock Purdy doesn't perform the way he did against the Cowboys. This might be a lesson learned type of situation. Do they learn from their lesson from the Cowboys game and try to fix the problems that they had this game? And if they do, if they are that kind of team, I think that coaching staff is capable of doing that. I think the 49ers are going to win this.
All right, next game we have in the AFC Championship game, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Cincinnati Bengals. Who you guys got?
Being that Mahomes has an ankle problem, I don't think even if he didn't or he did, I think the Bengals are taking it. They're hot. I know their offensive line, they had some issues, but man, the people that stepped in for them for the last game, they actually held down the fort pretty well. They were pretty impressive. Joe Burrow, he's a pocket passer. He finds the open receivers. They're running hot, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they have so much motivation, especially because the NFL thought that the Bills and the Chiefs were going to be able to win, and they were selling tickets in Atlanta, I believe. So the Bengals just have so much motivation. And then with Patrick Mahomes, the X factor of the Chiefs, being injured and with that high ankle sprain, I don't think they're going to be able to be as dynamic as they usually are. And then their defense is one of the worst defenses out there. So I give the edge to the Bengals.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what else to say aside from the fact that why they're going to lose this is because of Mahomes being injured to some extent and the Chiefs having the worst defense out of the 4 teams left right now. And I think the Bengals are riding a high momentum based off of the game they had. They were the underdogs and they came out winning and they came out doing it correctly and with dominance. And I think they're really stoked about the win they had. And they're going to take it over for all the way to the Super Bowl. So I think the Bengals will win this one for sure. But yeah, that's crazy. We're down to 2 games.
Yeah, it was an interesting season. One of the hardest fantasies and betting season that I've seen. Honestly, it's been.
You don't think you say that every year?
No, I don't. This one was
Actually,
very
yeah,
different.
You do.
I do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's because this one was more crazier than the other ones.
Yeah.
It's NFL so crazy.
The reality TV, man.
Crazy.
I mean, hey, it's entertaining. That's all it is. That's what it comes down to. If it's entertaining to a lot of people, it works.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, come on, guys. Did you guys really think that Purdy, the Mr. Relevant, was going to go all the way?
No, not at all.
I'm actually
Not at
annoyed.
all.
I'm annoyed that he's even.
I mean, the
relevant.
AFC and the AFC. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeing the Chiefs against the Bengals. I mean, the Bills were almost there too, so I think that's fine. But the NFC, we had the NFC East, almost every single team there in the playoffs. So they were like the worst division last year, and now they were top in the NFC. I mean, it's just nuts. It was a crazy year. And in fantasy, I'm sure a lot of people in fantasy would agree with me that this was one of the hardest seasons. A lot of busts out there this year. A lot of them.
For running backs, I can see that being a bust.
You know what? Yeah. I think running backs this season, at least from like the
Lots of
few
busts.
seasons that have been, yeah, it was a lot of struggling, I guess, with the running games and the running backs in general.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to keep an eye on, and there's going to be, I think, quite a bit to talk about after the Super Bowl. There's just a lot to think over. I think we're going through a new phase. It's going to start soon with all these high-end players slowly declining, year by year. You're starting to see them not being as productive as they used to be in the past, 4 or 5 years. So I think things are going to be changing. You're seeing Tom Brady on the tail end of his career. There's just a lot of things going on. But I think the one thing that never changes is how disappointing the Cowboys are. So that's pretty cool, right?
Welcome to my belt.
Yeah, weren't you guys in the AFC Championship like 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
12.
It's been a long time.
Was it 12?
Yeah, it's been. Time goes by really quickly
12?
when the Jets were there. Yeah.
Never mind. Was it Mark Sanchez, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's gonna be
12
13
years
years
ago.
this year.
13.
Next season.
I thought it was like 6 years ago. Wow. Never mind. Well, we'll see what this weekend has in store for us. Hopefully some really good games. And yeah, we're getting to the tail end of this, so it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited for free agency already. But yeah, this is going to be it for this episode of Football Tailgaters. We appreciate anyone that's made it to the end. Thank you so much for listening. We hope to see you guys interacting with us on our social media. Football_Tailgaters, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube, it's Football Tailgaters. Go ahead and comment, just give us some feedback. We appreciate all of that. Thank you guys again for listening. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you.